প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনাদের আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি আমাদের এই নতুন আয়োজন দীপ্ত সংলাপে। আমাদের সাথে আজকে আছেন মিস্টার অ্যাম্বাসেডর ইউবামা। উনি আছেন, এখানে এসেছেন। আমরা প্রথমে বলে রাখতে চাই যে জাপান ফেব্রুয়ারির 10 তারিখ 72 সালে বাংলাদেশকে স্বীকৃতি দিয়েছিল এবং বর্তমানে জাপান হচ্ছে দ্য লংগেস্ট বায়োলেটারাল ডেভেলপমেন্ট পার্টনার অফ বাংলাদেশ। এটা একটা বিরাট ব্যাপার। আমরা অত্যন্ত খুশি হয়েছি। We are very happy to get you in our studio today, dear Ambassador.
Yeah, it's my honor and privilege to have an interview, participate in this program. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You came very recently, not very long ago.
Yes, I came here the late December last year, 2022.
Okay.
Just before the inauguration ceremony of the Dhaka Metro. MRT Line 6.
Right. We will talk about Dhaka Metro because your contribution and participation is there. First of all, I want to say there was a special envoy from your ambassador to Dhaka. His name was Jane Nakataki.
Jane Nakatani, yes.
He was here, and our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was in Japan. And there was a lot of bilateral agreements happened. And the status of Bangladesh has been uplifted to call strategic partnership with Japan instead of comprehensive partnership. So this is something we feel, I'll let my audience know what is comprehensive and what is strategic partnership between the two countries.
Well, that's one of the frequently asked questions towards myself, and it is indeed true that we have agreed comprehensive partnership agreement in 2014 between the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and this time between the current Japanese Prime Minister Kishida and Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we have reached here and we have issued a joint statement called Strategic Partnership. And your question is what has changed? Well, there's the things that has changed, and there's a thing that has not changed. And the basic structure from 2014 and 2023 remains the same. In the old document, Comprehensive Partnership, we stress three issues. The cooperation in the stability, political stability, or the political issues. And the second pillar is the enhancement of the economic cooperation or economic relations.
Brilliant.
And the third pillar is the expanding the people-to-people exchange. So the political, economic, and the people-to-people exchange.
It's a large area.
Yeah, and the structure is same. When you take a look at this year's document, those pillars remain the same. But as you may have noticed that we have several outcomes in terms of the political or security cooperations. We have signed between the two defense agencies.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay.
I just want to ask, because you have this strategy plan with China and India, and we are the third country.
Oh, really?
That's what it says in the book. I mean, that gives, as a Bangladeshi, it gives me to think that we must have developed something, we must have done something good. That's why we have promoted ourselves to that level.
Yeah, well, the overall bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and Japan is expanding and strengthening. I just mentioned the political pillar, but in terms of the economic pillar, we are not just donor and recipients, but your country is aiming at graduation from LDC in 2026, and aiming at to be developed countries in 2041. That means that we are elevating to the equal partnership, not the donor and recipient.
Oh, the relationship changed.
Yeah, and relationship is changing. So that's the reason why we use the word strategic partnership.
You have taken some initiatives. One is called Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt Initiative. So Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt Initiative is, can you explain this? We know some of the information, but let me hear from you. These initiatives, what are the initiatives Japan has taken?
The Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt, or the initiative, is the development initiative launched by Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and as I mentioned, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in 2014.
Okay.
So the history goes back to the 2014, and we call it Big B initiative, but it contains several issues like economic infrastructure and improvement of the investment and climate and enhancement of the so-called connectivity. And under this initiative, two countries have a common view on the economic cooperation and strengthening coordination and cooperation. And specifically, you have heard about the Matabari Deep Sea Port Initiative.
That's a very important question for me, Matabari development.
Yes. And the Dhaka Metro and the airport and special economic zone in Alahajar, in Narayanganji. That kind of things have initiated in 2014, and as you may know that in this year, 2023, or in the late 2022, there was a very tangible outcome of the Big B initiative, the Bay of Bengal initiative.
So that's very good. Now let's talk about the metro. We are very excited about the metro.
Yeah.
I just want to know, there are 3 lanes.
Yes.
Japan is responsible or building it for Bangladesh. Where do we stand as far as the metro lane is concerned? And what is your experience working in Bangladesh with Bangladeshi engineers and workers and all this stuff? This is a very important question for us.
Well, first of all, as I mentioned at the outset, I had a privilege to participate in the first inauguration ceremony in December, late December, and I'm the first passenger, one of the first passengers to ride on the metro line 6. And I sensed the enthusiastic of not just the engineers or the people who are involved in this project, but I saw the many faces from the metro to outside. So many enthusiastic people waving their hands. Maybe that was the first train, but I've heard that the positive sentiment is still overwhelming here in Bangladesh about the Dhaka Metro. And talking back to the projects that the Japanese government is conducting, as I have mentioned, Metro Line 6 is already opening and working from right now from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. So it functions as a commuter's train. And as you have suggested, I have mentioned, we will soon launch to begin the construction work in Line 1 and Line 5. But it takes a little bit time, so maybe 2028, 9, maybe 2030. But we will do our best, utilizing our colleagues, experts' knowledge to introduce our system, our know-how to be introduced in this country, the Dhaka city.
What is your schedule, you think?
Well, precisely speaking, I will lead out the construction and preparation towards the full completion of the MRT Line 6 are currently underway, with the Agargaon Motijir section scheduled to open by the end of this year.
Wow!
And what the extended section between Motijir to Kamlapur, scheduled it to open in 2025.
Okay.
A little bit ahead. And construction for line 1 began in February this year.
Okay.
And work for line 5 north is also under preparation to begin in July. At present, line 1 is expected to complete around 2028. And while line 5 north is expected to be completed around 2029.
And
information.
Japan has invested money on this, and Japan has uses his expertise, engineers and all. How Japan gets benefit out of this?
Well, perhaps if you visit other ASEAN countries or India, you can see the urban railway network invested by Japan or the Japanese business companies.
Okay.
And I think how successful in terms of economy, I don't know, but we can contribute to for the benefit of the citizen in each city. I was in Bangkok. I was stationed in Bangkok, and the passengers are using the metro line and the urban railway network, and that changed the urban life completely. They don't have to rely on the automobile, and they can rely on the network, and that reduce their air pollution and so on. And it is beneficial not only in terms of short-term benefit from the viewpoint of the Japanese companies.
I think
not just that, but overall we can benefit from the improvement of the environment, and that makes new business,
opens a new business,
new urban
lifestyle
and urban development, so on and so forth.
Other thing I want to know, the major project that you have, Matabari, Moheshkhali Matabari integrated infrastructure. Now, Matabari, you have you building creating this deep sea port and a power plant. Now, your previous ambassador of Japan said if these two happens, part of Bangladesh will turn into Singapore. I said it will improve a lot. So where do we stand with this Moheshkhali Matabari project, and both on deep sea port as well as the power plant?
Yeah, well, as my predecessor has pointed out, the Matabari initiative, the MIDI initiative, we call it, Matabari Moheshkhali Matabari Integrated Infrastructure Initiative, is a big, ambitious project. Not just the deepening the port and make use of the for the new power plant, but we have a plan. The Japanese government have a plan to enhance and expand the region as a logistics hub. We have been conducting to complete our work on the deep sea port in terms of facilitating the power plant. That is the first step. But the next step will be undertaken in due course and in accordance with our master plan. And we are discussing with the relevant agencies in Bangladesh about our dream, our future plan, so that we can turn that region, that area, to be a mini Singapore, as my predecessor has mentioned.
Many countries, after this, especially Ukraine war and supply of gas irregularity, many countries went back to coal again. Germany doing it, China started, India went back because no choice. Supply of gas is very expensive. So what do you think about it? Like across the world, we have global warming, we have problems, and in that situation, countries are forced to go back to that energy. which pollutes the air. Do you have such situation in Japan? How do you handle these environmental issues?
Well, that's a very, very big issue, and it's very difficult to answer in several sentences. But first of all, what I have to stress is that Japan is committing to combating the situation on climate change. In that sense, we have been extending so many assistance, not only to your country but also in the world. And when it comes to the diversification of the energy, you are right that due to the Ukraine war, I was in Germany and I sensed last year, until last year, and I sensed that there's a change of attitudes even in European countries about how fast we should shift from the coal, the power plant to the renewable energy. We will have the Matabari, in the Matabari areas, the coal power plant, but we will have just 2 power plants. And we had a plan for third and fourth power plant, but we have decided to
not
just 2, and we have decided
so one
not 4, not 3 and 4.
One is working at the moment, and another is in construction. Is that correct?
Oh, the power plant 1 and power plant 2 is under construction, and it would be completed in next year, I think, and it will be utilized in next year.
Okay, okay. One question about this. See, we faced Corona crisis.
Yes.
Bravely, Bangladesh have done their best. Japan was very helpful.
Yeah.
Then came this war. We thought it's a localized war, but it is not a localized war anymore. It spread. It affected our country and supply of food materials across the world. So, my question is, Japan is not in war nowadays, and Japan has done 2 big wars, but after that Japan has changed policy. My question to you is, if European countries, for example, United States of America, Germany and England, supplied them with long distance weapons, whatnot, that will not stop the war, that will linger the war. Why we get into this kind of scenario? It's a competition to show how good the weapons are. What is it? I mean, this is for people like us, especially people like Bangladesh or some other developing countries, you know, African countries, or we were doing a very good growth. Suddenly this stupid war put us all back. So is Japan can help negotiate and come to a compromise to stop this stupidity? Is there any way you suggest? What is your thing?
It's a very sensitive issue, and there is the stance to this crisis might be different from one person to other person or one country to other
country.
But, our basic stance is that who began this war and the invasion, and it is obvious that the Russia did that, and they continue to do so, regardless of the UN resolution or regardless of the voices that is yearning for the peaceful solutions. And well, if the one country is invaded from other countries, just like you experienced in the early 1970s, it is sort of a matter of course that the country will defend against such invasions. And well, again, which weapon is suitable? Is it useful, useless? Well, it's a sort of a matter of interpretation, a matter of understanding of the strategic issues and the security issues. But we should not lose sight of the fact that from the viewpoint of the Japanese government, we should stand for the Ukrainian side, because the Russia has began this war, and unfortunately, until this moment, Russia is trying to continue this war. That's the basic stance.
Yeah, but people like us is affected by this. That's why we're saying.
I know. And at the same time, the people like you or people like other countries are suffering from the energy crisis and the food resources. And as an international community, the important member of the international community, the Japan is taking a lead to how we can alleviate the burden of those countries who are suffering from the aftermath or the outcome of this crisis war. Yeah, we are doing so.
We have small SMEs in Bangladesh.
SMEs, yeah.
You, Japan, also have SMEs as a supplier of different things. Do you have any plan to support and work with the SMEs in Bangladesh?
Well, I don't have the specific initiative or program in my mind, but you know that as I mentioned, our aim of the relationship, the expanding the relationship in terms of economy is shifting from the donor recipients to the mutual beneficial relations. That means that we would like to invite more investment from Japan to Bangladesh. And in doing so, we would invite not only the big companies, but also the small and medium-sized economies.
A few days ago, Bangladesh Economic Summit, there was a lot of companies came. And now, do you have a list of Japanese companies, for example, interested to future investment in Bangladesh? They have shown, how many companies, Japanese companies have shown interest to invest or work with the Bangladeshi companies?
Well, it's very difficult to count every company, but the one thing I can clearly say to you is that we have some 300 companies residing here in Bangladesh. Wow. The number is not so big in comparison with the companies in Vietnam or other ASEAN countries. And those companies, Japanese companies, which are interested in coming to this country, is, I hope, very big. But as I have mentioned, we have just begun open the special economic zone organized by the Japanese companies in Arai Hazar December last year. And we do hope and we do expect that many companies from Japan would come to open the factories or have a hub in Arai Hazar so that they can expand the network in Bangladesh.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any car companies coming? We heard the Mitsubishi was interested, and then.
Well, the answer is at this moment no. And well, there are several reasons, but when it comes to the real investment, I'm always saying to the public, but together with the government of Bangladesh, we should talk with the obstacles that the Japanese companies are facing, or the new companies will face to invest here in Bangladesh. And the investment-related agencies should give more incentive for the foreign investors to come to Bangladesh. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, in ASEAN countries, there are so many factories and the investment in the automobile sectors. But as far as I know, there's no signs of that, unfortunately, at this moment. And what I should do and what I can do is to talk with, from the viewpoint of the Japanese investors, to talk with them and identify the interest, but at the same time talk with the government sector how we can improve the investment environment.
Yeah. Vietnam has done successfully.
Yes.
Vietnam was able to accept
Yes.
a lot of
We
companies.
should follow the road that other neighboring countries in other Asian countries are doing.
Very good. In recent visit to Japan, a lot of MOU and MOC means Memorandum of Cooperation. Cooperation
Yes, right.
has been signed. My question is, which areas, which sector both the government have chosen to sign MOC and MOUs?
Well, we have between two governments. We signed 8 documents, and when it comes to areas, it's very diversified. I have mentioned about the security-related cooperation, and we, for the first time, signed the Defense Cooperation Memorandum of Cooperation. But other than that, most of the documents are dedicated to the strengthening the economic relations, but very diversified. For example, the agriculture or the ICT, including cybersecurity, or the upgrade of the industrial sectors, and the metro rail, ship recycling, and so on.
So these are implemented, then it will be implemented in future, in few years.
We the contents of the MOC, the documents, is different from one to others, and some is a very new areas. Some areas are very new, and we have just agree about the framework, and some areas are relatively already advanced, and we can do more concrete steps. But the important thing is that, based upon the several documents and based upon the joint declaration, joint statement by 2 leaders, we should move forward about more diversified, more intensive cooperation between 2 countries.
This time, when our Prime Minister visited your country, Japan, they signed an agreement to modernize the Bangladesh armed force. What is this concept of modernizing the army with sophisticated weapons or training, I assume, plus how it affects the neighboring countries like Burma in one hand, India is one hand. So tell us first, so what is the modernizing concept of Bangladesh army, which never happened before? Japan didn't do this, but Japan's army is very sophisticated. But how this will work?
We haven't reached an agreement on supporting the modernization of the army in this country. What we have agreed was the defense cooperation, and the defense cooperation means that we would enhance the people-to-people exchange in terms of the defense attaché or the military-to-military persons. And we have done so far the very good track record. In April this year, our maritime self-defense forces visited Chattogram, and the Bangladesh Navy welcomed the visit of the vessel and have an intensive dialogue. This kind of thing, the people-to-people exchange, will be intensified in the Memorandum of Cooperation in the Defense Cooperation.
Which is something new for Bangladesh?
Yeah, this is something new.
New for Bangladesh.
We would like to contribute to the regional stability. Regional stability of this region, Bay of Bengal or the Indo-Pacific, which we have been advocating for several years. And as I mentioned, if the Bangladesh side wishes to do so, then we would respond to that. So that's our basic stance.
So the Bengal, we have the Delta. Bangladesh Delta Belt is a big one. Bay of Bengal is become a hub for trade and business.
Yes, yes.
You know, so it's a safety, security is an issue.
Yeah, well, in order to have a stable economic relations, the stability of this region is very important. In that sense, we are very much keen on the security situation in this region, Bay of Bengal and the South Asian regions as a whole. And we are promoting the connectivity between the Bay of Bengal and the northern part of the continent, subcontinent, towards northeastern part of India and so on. So all in all, we would like to strengthen our commitment to this region.
To the whole region altogether. Yes. That's very good. I have another question. Let me check here. It's about LDC. When we graduating to LDC in 2026. And after that, automatically some restriction will come. Then what is the policy? What do you think? That to support Bangladesh to grow its business, what will you do? What will be your stand on Bangladeshi products entering into Japanese market after 26?
Yeah, well, the Japanese companies are very much keen on the after 2026 situation, and that's why we have just begun the so-called joint study group on the possibility of the Japan-Bangladesh Economic Partnership Agreement last April this year. We have just the first round. That means that we would have some framework agreement before, if possible, and I think it is urgently needed before 2026 to absorb the shocks, and not just extending the duty-free, quota-free measures go beyond 2026, but we would like to have the agreement, free trade agreement on tariffs and some economic frameworks. And just as you are conducting, you are trying to do with India or other countries. And we have had bilateral negotiations in other countries, in ASEAN countries or India, in early stage of 2010s and 2015. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, the Japanese companies and the Japanese government is very much keen on how to conduct a soft landing after the graduation of the LDC. In order to do so, we would intensify our negotiations or dialogue with regard to the economic partnership.
Okay. So the process already started?
Yes, yes.
So they face the situation?
Yes, and soon we will conduct the second round of joint study with a view to agreeing on the scope of the agreement, the FTA or the economic partnership agreement, so that the government basis we can conduct the possible negotiations soon.
Your Honorable Prime Minister Kishida has declared that there will be something called Free and Open Indo-Pacific Agreement. That can you tell our audience what is this this arrangement is between the two countries?
Yeah, Free and Open Indo-Pacific, we call it FOIP, is a Japanese foreign policy proposed by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in 2016. And the vision of developing a free and open Indo-Pacific region through ensuring a rule-based international order in order to bring peace, stability, and prosperity to every country in the region. And as you have mentioned, March this year, 2023, our current Prime Minister Kishida delivered a policy speech in India and announced the new FOIP plan, new plan for Free and Open Indo-Pacific strategy, or the Free and Open Indo-Pacific initiative. And in this new plan, he emphasized several things, and we can explain one by one. But the important thing is that he emphasized the inclusiveness, not take sides you should come and take sides with us, or if you want to take sides with others, you're not for the benefit of the Japanese side.
Right.
This is not our idea.
Okay.
But inclusiveness. So if you follow the ideas of the enhancement of the connectivities, or the freedom of navigations, and I think Bangladesh is also very much keen on that kind of basic elements, and we can discuss how we can develop, as you have mentioned about the security cooperation. We have this kind of initiative or the idea in mind. We have discussed with Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in April this year, and I emphasized the regional connectivities. Regional connectivity is one of the keywords and key elements of the free and open Indo-Pacific. And we try to make the initiative more concrete in doing dialogue with your country, other countries, in order to strengthen the regional connectivity. So, in the nutshell, the Free and Indo-Pacific initiative by Prime Minister Kishida is one of the key concepts which we can share with you and with other countries if we can share the values. And I think shortly before the Honorable Prime Minister's visit to Japan, the Bangladesh government has announced Indo-Pacific Outlook, and in that document, the core elements is very, very similar to the free and open Indo-Pacific Japanese initiative.
Japan said, yeah. Now, I think, in my view, in the Southeast Asia, Far East Asia, nowadays, due to change in economic system and all other factors, becoming close to each other.
Yes.
And I think Japan, being an advanced country with all this advanced knowledge and all, have got a very important role to play to unite this region and for the development purposes.
Yes.
China has done miracle. Japan has created this sophisticated missionaries and tools and satellite or whatnot. And then this region, if they unite, we will have a very strong strength to face business and other, and it's a big market also.
Yes. So let's assure that Japan is a long-standing, reliable one of the most reliable partner for you, for the
of course it is,
people.
So that's very good. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা এতক্ষণ জাপানি অ্যাম্বাসেডরের কাছে কথা শুনলাম। জাপান তখন আগেও ছিল, বর্তমানে আছে, ভবিষ্যতে থাকবে বাংলাদেশের বন্ধু হিসেবে এবং পাশাপাশি থাকবে, এবং আমাদের এশিয়ান মেন্টালিটি, এশিয়ান রিলেশনশিপ আমরা আশা করব আরও শক্তিশালী হবে। সেখানে জাপান একটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রাখবে বলে আমি বিশ্বাস করি। আমাদের সাথে এতক্ষণ থাকার জন্য অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ।